Taking self-accountability and recognizing the wrongs during your marriage is a courageous and transformative process. It involves a deep and honest look within, acknowledging one's own mistakes, behaviors, and shortcomings that may have contributed to marital issues. This introspection is not about assigning blame, but about understanding the dynamics of the relationship and one's role in it. When we recognize our own wrongdoings rather than placing blame on our partners, it is an acknowledgement that in any relationship, both individuals contribute to its dynamics, whether positive or negative. By focusing on our own actions, behaviors, and choices, we open the door to self-improvements, personal growth, and the potential for healthier relationships. In this exploration of taking responsibility for our actions within a marriage, we delve into the strength of self-awareness and the capacity to create positive change by addressing our own shortcomings and behaviors. Instead of being the victim in my last relationship, I have to take a step back, reflect, and ask myself, what are those things I've done or have said that resulted in the end of the relationship? To find out more on the things that I've learned and discovered after my divorce, keep listening because you don't want to miss this episode. Welcome back to another episode of yours truly. It is your one and only host, Druelee, of course. On this episode, I will be diving into another what is life like after divorce. So if you guys happen to listen to my previous episode 7, Lesson Learned, I talked in depth about the lessons I've learned after my divorce and what I am currently doing now to continue my healing journey so that I don't repeat history. But for this episode, I am going to talk more about taking accountability, understanding my role and what I have done that has led me to divorce, basically. I know that a lot of times, sometimes, especially as women and sometimes men, we tend to be the victim in the relationship. If you are currently dating or married and let's say that you want to break up with this person or get a divorce, or let's say that you are already broken up with this person and already divorced, sometimes we tend to victimize ourselves and we tend to blame the other person for the reason why the relationship did not work. I already know that when my divorce happened, I know that it wasn't always a lost boy who contributed to the ending of our relationship. I have to take a step back and I have to ask myself, did I also do or say things that had resulted us to end the relationship? And I do have to admit and say that yes, I have. Because at the end of the day, if there's two people that are in a relationship, it takes two of us to make it work. And if one of us are not willing to make it work and why the other is, that is the result of ending the relationship. Let's say that you are like me, where you did all that you can to help your partner to be able to make sure that the relationship is going to where it needs to go. And at the end of it, it didn't work out. We can't blame our partners only that was the result of the end of the relationship. I know a few people dear to my heart where they've always made themselves the victim in their relationship. And every time when they express or talk about their issues in the relationship, it's always my partner is doing this and that. But yet they forgot to take a look at themselves. And I have to take a look at myself after my divorce as well. Even during and after the relationship, I have to reflect on myself and ask myself, did I say something that I shouldn't have said? Did I not say too much? Or did I not say enough? Did I not do enough? It's been a while since I've been divorced, and a lot of you guys who've been listening to me have known that because of that, I started this podcast. Although I don't like to talk about my divorce, just because I don't want that title to define who I am currently now as I am recording this episode. Yet I still want to, let you guys know my thinking and what I have been doing after divorce. And this is an ongoing healing journey for me. And if you are in my shoes where you are currently divorced, or if you, let's say, are in a relationship and you currently broke up with your partner, same thing. I hope that this episode will help you to take a look at yourself, reflect on yourself, and ask yourself, did you do or say things that could have resulted at the end of your relationship? Because for me, I have to do that. At the end of the day, we have to look at ourselves. We have to ask ourselves these questions because we are in control of our life. And we can't just blame our partners or blame other people for having a bad life. You do know that you have control of your life. You don't have to have other people control your life. I just want to share some of the things that I found out about myself, or took the time to invest in myself and to understand what actually happened in my past relationship. And I hope that this will help you to continue or to start looking within yourself to see what you could have done better, or what you did that could have resulted something better in return. So I found I found 6 things that I did that ended my previous relationship. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot more, but that's all that I can find out so far. But if I do find more, I will definitely let you guys know. But yeah, let's get started with the first one. The first and foremost, of course, very typical thing that happens in a relationship is that, I have to be honest, I suck at communication. If you guys haven't listened to my previous episode, I talked about my family dynamic where we don't really like to confront each other when it comes to issues. And we're really bad at apologizing. We're really bad at sitting down and talking about our problems. And we tend to sweep things under the rug and act as if nothing happened. And then the next couple of days, we're fine. And that was what happened during my marriage. And it was really hard for me to also communicate my emotions, just because with how my family dynamic was, we didn't talk about our emotions at all. We couldn't express it. When you express your emotions, it's pretty much a sign of weakness. Even though we didn't really said it like that, but our actions said that it was a sign of weakness. If we cried, or if we mentioned something that was bothering us to each other, it was just a sign of weakness. And during the time that I was married, even though I had some things that was bothering me, and I did communicate that to my partner at that time, there are some things that I couldn't say, or there's some things that I sugarcoat, or there's some things that I said that was very hurtful. I don't remember all of those things, but I do know that I was really mean. Okay, I was really mean. I was really harsh. Not degrading in no shape or way. Okay, it's more of just demanding. Also, not learning to be a little bit softer when it comes to communicating, or be a little bit softer when there are certain things that I need and want from my partner. Overall, my communication sucked. And there was a couple of things that I was really good at communicating, which was when my family has something going on, I communicate that to my partner. But the things that annoyed me was when my partner couldn't do that to me, I got annoyed from it. And of course, I started communicating very harshly and demanding certain things to be done a certain way. What I learned from that past relationship is that I needed to learn how to communicate in an efficient way, not just because it annoyed me or that I was very demanding. And I think when it comes to communication, we all need to work on that. I haven't gotten a chance to delve into a deeper level yet. I would assume that if I look into more of how to communicate correctly or how to improve my communication, then eventually that will work in my favor in my new relationship. But I definitely will have to say that in my previous relationship, I just sucked at communication. So I have to admit that, okay? Number 2, I did mention that on the first one, but I pretty much shut down and I avoid conflicts. The reason why I shut myself down and avoid conflict is because, going back to number 1, when I communicated the things that were bothering me to my previous partner, I was ignored or there was no response. And I felt like I needed a response from my partner. But at that time, maybe he didn't know how to communicate. Maybe he didn't know what to respond to my plead or my wants and needs. I don't know. I do remember that when something was bothering me, I always bring it up. I always told my partner. Most of the time, he just sat there, didn't really engage in what I was trying to say. With that, I just shut myself down and didn't want to push it. I'm also the type of person where I don't like conflicts at all. And so in order to avoid arguing or saying harsh things to each other or just causing drama, I just sat there and just shut up, basically. And with that, there should have been an easier way of doing this. Even though I did voice my concerns and my opinions and what is in my mind at that time, what was bothering me at that time, I should have my partner communicate to me what I should and shouldn't do, or I shouldn't think this way. Just being able to communicate and reassuring to me that what I'm thinking is either correct or incorrect, or maybe I'm thinking too much, who knows. But when I am voicing all of those things, I should at least have my partner to comfort me or to reassure me. But because I didn't want to cause any conflicts, I just, like what he did, brush everything under the rug and act as if nothing's happening, even though inside of me and a part of me knew that the problem was still there. So that was something that I did in my previous relationship, where I just shut myself down because I didn't get the reassurance from my partner, and I just didn't want to cause conflict because I'm not a drama starter, okay? I'm not a shit starter, you guys. I'm all about peace. I just want peace. But I know that in order to, not hold things inside of me and not hold any issues that I have, I should at least communicate it and address it instead of just keeping it to myself and pretending that everything is okay when it's not. Number 3, this is very important. What I learned about the end of my previous relationship that had resulted in the end of the relationship was my upbringing in my culture. For those who have been my long-time listeners, you guys know that I am Hmong. And I have been talking a lot about my culture. And I just want to put a disclaimer. I don't hate my culture, okay? There's good things and bad things about culture. And I'm pretty sure there's plenty of other cultures out there that had good things and bad things. And part of my Hmong culture is that growing up as a Hmong woman, as a Hmong daughter, we were taught to learn to cater to our husband. We were taught to, of course, go to school, get educated, and get a degree, then get a good paying job, right? Also with that, by being educated, we also have to learn how to cook, how to clean, learn how to take care of a child, and cater to our husbands. That's it. Was there any room for us as an independent person to please? No. And so I do have to say that growing up as a Hmong woman, as a Hmong daughter, that was all I know. When I am married, my life is only towards my husband. That's it. Let's say if my husband cheats on me, if my husband is mad at me, my husband is complaining to his family that I'm not doing A, B, and C, it's my fault because I'm not giving him enough sex. I'm not cleaning. I'm not cooking for him. I am not doing things that he is not liking. And even if you as a Hmong woman knows that you're doing all that you can to be a wife, it's an excuse for him to, of course, cheat and do all those things. It doesn't matter if you do all the cooking, all the cleaning, all the childbearing and catering to your husband. You're still looked down upon because in the Hmong culture, it seems like Hmong women don't matter. It's really sad to say. I don't know if it's like that in a modern year, a modern generation, and I'm pretty sure it still exists. But from what I've learned, being a Hmong woman and being married to a Hmong man, that is what it is. So I'm not going to sugarcoat on anything. And many of the Hmong people, they could be mad all they want, but I'm just being honest here. And that is what I've gone through. And I've learned that that's what it is. I do believe that, depending on your upbringing, your culture, it does affect how your relationship is towards your spouse. And from what I've experienced so far, that's one of the things that I do not like about our Hmong culture is that Hmong men are seen higher than the Hmong woman. And us women don't have a say, don't have a voice, don't even have a life of our own. I'm not trying to blame it on our culture, but I do kind of in a way blame on it too, because if we didn't have the culture set in stone for us to follow, then maybe Hmong men could have, be more helpful, more knowledgeable, and not so much selfish about themselves. So that is just my input. You guys can be mad all you want. That's what I've experienced. And I do believe that based on your culture and your upbringing in the culture, it does affect how your relationship is. Number 4, seeking outside of help is not normal. So what I mean by that is, if you guys are like me, where you grew up in a Hmong church, right? When you have issues, marital issues, you can only talk to pastor about your problems. Do they recommend you talking to outside resources? No. And the reason why I say no is because I haven't heard anybody from my church who are married that has gone to a counselor or a therapist outside of church. They've only talked to pastors, and that's it. Similar to culture as well, in my Hmong culture, when there is an issue within the marriage, who do they go to? They talk to their own clan elders. Let's say, for example, if the husband was cheating, right? The wife will call for both family to come together and talk about the husband cheating. Again, I don't know too much about like the whole process of all of that, but all I know is that they do that, where each clan of the husband and wife will come together, talk about why is the husband cheating. If he wants to get a second wife, then he's going to have to pay up for that. If the first wife don't want to get divorced to him because he's cheating, then she's the first wife and all that sort of stuff, right? If you're Hmong, you know what I'm talking about, okay? But they don't go outside of the culture. They don't go outside of the church to find help, which is finding a counselor, finding a therapist, seeking a marriage counselor. It's not well known in the community. And I wish that they could have been more active on that when it comes to couples who are struggling in their marriage, even though that is the first thing that they will go to for help. If pastors aren't helping and if the elders or the head clan isn't helping, then the pastor and the elders should recommend those couples to seek help elsewhere or outside of that. I don't think Hmong people, either they're not aware or they don't believe counseling or therapists can help, because a lot of them don't think that they have personal issues when they really do. I don't know if Hmong people in general is very active when it comes to mental health. I mean, I've seen a couple of posts here and there on Facebook, but to me, I just feel like it's not well known out there. Or maybe a lot of us just don't want to work on our mental health or don't want to really work on our marriage. And that was one of the things that I wish I could have dived into. The only reason why we didn't seek a therapist or a counselor is because I already know that he didn't want to seek any counseling or any therapist. He's only doing it just because he has to do it. And for me, I was all for it. However, I know that if I was the one that was scheduling the appointment, paying for a session, and he's not doing that, I just felt like he just wasn't there to actually want to be there to work on our marriage. And that's why I just rather not do it. I would rather have him step up, truly do make the schedule and, at least pay for a session or two to convince me that yeah, he really did indeed want to work in that relationship. But I already know him enough already to know that he's only going to be doing it just for 1 or 2 times and that's it. Will there be any changes after seeking a therapist or a counselor? No. If that was the case, then we would have seek a therapist or a counselor before any of this would have happened. And that's why we didn't see a counselor or therapist. Even though talking to our parents, it wasn't going to help at all too. So for those who think that going to your parents is going to help with your relationship, it's not going to. I just advise for you to just go outside of your culture, outside of church, to seek a professional when it comes to your marriage. Sometimes your parents don't need to know what you have going on in your relationship. Sometimes pastors or the elders in your clan don't need to know what's going on in your marriage. Because a lot of times pastors can gossip, elders can gossip, and being in a small community, everybody gossip, okay? Let's be honest here. Everybody gossip, and even if you're trying to hide your problems, sooner or later, the whole world's going to know what's going on. So if you're the type of person where you don't want your dirty laundry to be aired out into the public, then I advise you just to go to someone that don't know shit about either your culture or don't know shit about you, and they are helping you to fix your relationship. Number 5, I was too masculine and I was less feminine. So with that, growing up, I was taught to be independent. I was taught to find a job, get my own car, get my own car insurance, just do things for myself. And because of that, I took in a lot of the masculine role. I wished I was more feminine, but when you're with someone who is more feminine, meaning they wait for you to do everything, you are the breadwinner or you're the one that controls the spending, the money, what you should and shouldn't do in your life. Ladies, if you're the one that's planning everything, controlling everything, the one that's asking a man into a date, the one that's financing a house, the one that is basically controlling your relationship and your spouse or your partner is not doing that. And he's waiting for you to do all of that. I'm telling you, it's going to burn you out. I learned the hard way. I wish that I was with someone who was more masculine than me. I have to be honest with that. The last partner, he was more feminine. Of course, he was a lot younger than me, so it couldn't really do much. I do have to advise, don't date anyone who's younger than you, okay? If you date someone who's younger than you, they're gonna wait for you to do everything. Ladies, take my word. It's like adopting a son that's not even yours. And I'm pretty sure for the women out there, if you're married to your husband now and he still acts like a child and he's around your age, you also want to reconsider that too. I like I said, I'm not trying to judge anybody or try to, look down on anybody. But all I'm saying is that the more masculine you are, the less feminine you are. In this present time, I'm learning to be more feminine, meaning that I'm learning to be very girly. I'm learning to be in my soft era. I just don't want to yap my mouth. I don't want to bitch. I don't want to, what men call it, nagging. I just want to be in my soft era where if you're going to treat me like shit, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just going to look at you and then cut you off on my life and then move along. because I'm not here to play games. I do have to say, I was the one that was in control of my previous relationship. I got us our very own house. I paid most of the bills. I basically was just in charge of how our life was going to be like. And even though it didn't go the way it was planned, ladies, like I said, you gotta find somebody that is a step ahead of you where he can take control, not full control, but be the one to lead the relationship. And I get it. Being a man is very complicated. It's stressful. There's a lot of things that you have to do as a man. But I'd rather be more feminine, okay? I'm a woman, okay? I'm a female. I'd rather sit down and just be delicate like a flower petal, okay? And as much as I want to be stern and be like rough and no, my way, nobody's way, the more masculine you are, the more stressful you are. And so, ladies, this goes out to you guys, okay? Be more feminine. Learn more about being a woman and being less of a masculine. I mean, there are times where you can switch it off and be masculine, but majority of the time you have to be feminine. And that's what I'm learning right now in my singleness. I know I could be masculine, but I'm not allowing myself to be in that energy for too much. I want to work on being more feminine. Just be more sensual, sexual, and classy, and just be a woman, just be a good-looking woman, a very soft and compassionate woman. That's what I want to work on. And because, like I said, because I was too masculine in my previous relationship, things didn't work out the way it did. Like I say, back to communication. The way that I communicated to my last partner was really rough, really demanding, wanting certain things. I wasn't really degrading, but I know that I have said things that did degrade him and his manhood a bit because I was expecting him to do a lot more. But because the start of the relationship, I was the one that was in control of the relationship from the beginning. And when I no longer wanted to be in control or be the leader of the relationship, I expected him to take in that role when really he wasn't that masculine type of man that he needed to be in the beginning. He was more feminine. He was the one that was waiting for me to do everything for him, basically. When I wanted us to switch that role, it didn't work in my favor. And that's one of the issues as to why my relationship didn't work out. And then the last one, oftentimes, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you women are similar to me, where we tend to please people. We tend to please people where, whatever people tell us what to do, we will say yes. We don't know how to draw our boundaries. For me, I'm a type of person where, of course, I have in-laws and whatnot, right? I understand that there's other brothers that are going to get married and they're going to have wives, and I will be having other sister-in-laws. I just didn't care to compete or to act like I'm the best daughter-in-law in the family because I don't give a shit. At the same time, I understand that, of course, that's my husband's family. And because I was married to the eldest son, I guess it was kind of my role to lead the family in a way, if you could say that. But my view, I didn't really give a shit about taking that role. And even from the start of the relationship, I just don't give a shit. I know some people, they do give a shit about becoming the top tier daughter-in-law, the top tier son-in-law. But for me, I just don't give a fuck. Just because I'm married to the oldest son, the middle son, or the last son, that doesn't mean that I have to partake in something that will make me look like I'm the best, I'm the shit. But really, I don't give a fuck. I really don't. And some people think like that. And for me, I don't. And of course, when you're married, you're supposed to be a certain way, think or act a certain way, just to please other people, to the point where you don't know yourself and you lose yourself as a person and you don't have any boundaries at all. I've learned that throughout that relationship, just because you're married to your husband, that doesn't mean you have to please other people. Same as going to church as well. You go to church, you're pleasing other people. You attend church and do God's work, and you being conceited or trying to act like you're better than other people. For me, I just don't give a shit. Maybe other people wanted me to do that. Maybe other people wanted me to step up as a daughter-in-law or step up in the church to do more for the community or do more for the family. But at the end of the day, I just didn't give a shit because I don't give a shit. I don't know. I guess people just didn't like that. I remember there was an incident where, of course, the holiday came and supposedly we're supposed to hang out with the in-laws and whatnot. I decided not to because my thing is that it's not my job to host or create an event for the holidays, okay? If the in-laws want to do something, great. If they're not going to communicate to me that they want me to host anything or plan, I don't know, games or whatever during the holidays, that's on them. It's not my job as a daughter-in-law to take in that role. And so that one year, I didn't say anything. I planned it with my own family. We did our own little Christmas. And of course, my previous partner at the time, he spent it with his family. And I don't feel guilty about it. I don't feel sad about it. My thing is that if they're not going to communicate with me and what they plan on doing for the holidays, then I'm not going to please them and trying to make my way to be the top tier daughter-in-law. Like, I don't give a shit about that. And like I say, some people, they do give a shit about that. They want to be the best of the best, but I don't give a fuck about that position. And it's just less stress for me, okay? Yeah, people will get mad at you for not catering to your in-laws or not catering to your husband's side of the family. And a lot of times, our Hmong culture is like that. Once you get married to your husband, you have to cater to your husband's side of the family. And for me, I'd rather not date anyone who is so close to... I mean, I'm not saying that, oh, you shouldn't be close to your family. I don't know. I just want somebody who just don't give a shit, just want to live his life and enjoy life and not worry too much about being that top tier boss or being that top tier clan leader or whatever. Like, just be a normal person. Again, I do have to say that if you're the type of person where you are pleasing, let's say, your in-laws too much or pleasing your own family too much or pleasing people outside of your relationship, that could cause an issue in your marriage. And I'm pretty sure my previous partner was like that too. He was pleasing his stepmom, and because he doesn't know how to draw his boundary, he doesn't know himself, that caused our relationship to end. And because I wasn't willing to please any of his parents, they had an issue with that. I know passively they had an issue with that, but guess what? I don't give a fuck. So like, and a lot of times in my culture, they say that if you marry your husband, you marry the whole family. That's bullshit. I don't believe that. So you're saying that if his family are thieves, his family are murderers, his families are rapists, they do drugs or sell drugs, that I'm part of that? Hell the fuck no. I'm not a drug dealer. I'm not a murderer. I'm not a rapist. I'm not any of these things. I'm married to him. He needs to figure out how to control himself and learn how to draw a balance when it comes to family. And if he doesn't understand that, then he should be married in the first place. That's all I gotta say, okay? But aside from that, that is all the points that I have when it came to me reflecting on myself and understanding what I did wrong in the relationship. And of course, there could have been like many other things, but I must have forgotten. But if I do remember any of those things, I will definitely add those to upcoming episodes as well. I always refer back to my old episodes. So like I say, always take a listen to my old episodes. It's unfortunate that marriages will end, relationship will end. Sometimes I'm just so tired of just blaming other people. And I understand that at the end of the day, this is my life. This is nobody's life. I'm not pleasing nobody. I have to please myself. People will say that it sounds very selfish. It's not selfish at all. There's a different type of being selfish, but the selfish I'm trying to say is that at the end of the day, you die alone. You don't bring anybody else to your death. Unless you both die at the same time, then okay, yeah, sure. But at the end of the day, you are walking by yourself. You're dying by yourself. You can't bring anybody to your death. And at the end of the day, if you're not happy with your life, then you got to do something about it. If you're with someone that isn't making you happy, you got to end that. Make yourself happy. Because at the end of the day, it's your life. You can't blame your partner for not loving you. You can't blame your partner for not making you happy. It starts with you first. And if you can't love yourself, you can't be happy with yourself, you can't see the good and bad of yourself, then don't get into a relationship. Don't even think that by being in a relationship with someone that they're supposed to feed you all those things. They can't. Because what if you are in a relationship with someone who is like you, where they don't know how to love themselves, they don't know their worth, they don't know their value, they don't know how to take accountability. If they don't know any of these things, they can't sit back, know how to empathize, know how to ask themselves personal questions or ask questions to reflect their life. What's good on being in a relationship with them? It's not going to do any good. And we have to stop being a victim in the relationship or just the relationship in general. Can't point fingers at other people's. We have to point back ourselves. That's pretty much the episode that I have for you guys. Again, let's all just take accountability of ourselves, of our life. Be the author of your book. Be the main character of your movie. Don't allow other people to control you. You got to work on yourself. You got to be self-aware. If you're not self-aware, then I don't suggest you guys to be in a relationship. But aside from that, again, I want to thank everyone for supporting and listening to me throughout this podcast. I truly appreciate you guys. And that's all that I have for this episode. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.